For all the honeys in the Hyundai. For all my dreams, you know it's alright.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? We got Kareem Ibrahim of Mammals Gaming here with a deck profile, max rarity Mermails. Let's see it. What's your records actually with this deck for the last few weeks?
The last few weeks, I think I went like 15-3 or 4 in terms of matches. One of the losses was just to a game 3 full non-engine brick, and then the other losses were just to shifter. One of the games I drew cross out, or I drew the shifter with the cross out, which was unfortunate. But other than that, this deck has been performing really well. The boards it puts up going first, especially ripping cards out of your opponent's hand, is insane, and I think it's one of the better decks this format in terms of going first.
Nice. All right, let's see it.
So for the Atlantean engine, we have 3 Prince, 3 Ryan, 3 Shadow Squad. I know a lot of people early on were playing 2 and 2 or cutting these down to other numbers that aren't 3. I think this is pretty standard now, especially because Coelacanth is just an insane card. 3 Dragoons, this is obviously a staple at 3. Multiple searches per turn. I think I can recycle this and maybe even get like about 4 to 5 searches per turn off of this one card. It's insane. 1 heavy infantry. There was definitely a consideration to play 2. This card's really good with the interaction of the Link or Ryan banish on your opponent's turn to pop a card. Just another form of layered interaction. Mermail engine, we have 3 tastes. I know there was also an option to play this at 2. I like seeing this at 3. I just want to maximize as many ways to get to Prince as possible. So this will search, either one of the Shadow Guards or Rhine, and then if you get Shadow Guards and pitch it off something else, the Shadow Guards will get the Prince from deck. Prince is just an insane 1-card starter. You really need like 2 forms of interaction to interact with this card properly. The dump for cost is just relatively insane because either way, if you interact with just a search, the dump's going to trigger, and it just feels like you wasted a card to negate half a card effect, which is pretty broken. 3 Pike. Pike is just needed at 3 since we play Coelacanth. On top of this, we play the 1 Shift. This is just a level 2 tuner for some of the synchro plays that we go into, and I'll show that later. 2 Minstrel. I like this at 2. I know people are on 1. Some people aren't playing 3. This pitching any of the Atlanteans that do something, Dragoons or Shadow Squad, looking at your opponent's hand, ripping something like Droll, or banishing an Impulse or something like that. Very good. 1 Megalo. This is alright. I wouldn't play more. Considered cutting it, but it's just good for going second. Searchable different ways, and then you can just still tribute Prince, attack twice, summon something back off of the Prince. Puts up a lot of pressure. Searches the equip 2. This is just a god card. You navigate your graveyard, rip 2 out of your opponent's hand, and then honestly, you rip 2, put up two negates, and then like it's really just hard to deal with, especially if you have non-engine in your hand already.
It's FTK.
1 Agrine. This I wasn't playing this before, and then I missed playing this. The Synchro 10 that I play is just really good in different matchups. So if I would rather have the sync, like if I'm playing against Fire King, I prioritize getting this, so I can make the Chengying, and that card is just very good in a lot of matchups, like Yubel, like against the Fire King matchup, especially when you put it under the Mermail King link and it's untargetable. Coelacanth, this card's insane. Summons all the fish out from your deck. Lets you get into the double toad plays or the toad dweller plays, depending on what your matchup is. A lot of people forget about the targeting protection effect that this card has, where if you have another fish on board, if you open Pike and then summon this later, the Pike can get tributed to prevent this from getting targeted by Imperm, which is huge. For the non-engine, 3 Ash, 2 Droll. The Droll's been great. It serves as a cross-out target post side, but this is also just very good in case you end up going second game 1. It just stuns your opponent and it forces them to play a little more sub-optimally. And then if you have other hand traps, Charmies will get you into your other non-engine, and it becomes the Drolls become a lot more stronger with that.
So you main deck all 6?
Yeah, so I play all 6. I have seen lists where you would play less of these and just side the others. I like all 6. I want to see them, especially going second. It helps me mitigate how strong of a board my opponent can put up, which sets me up for my turn 1 or turn 2 of the game, where I can try to break that board and OTK a lot easier. A lot of people take the challenge against this deck. I don't know why. Having a 12-card hand to pick apart with like a lot of these effects that aren't once per turn. It's really strong. Call by's call by. Helps against Shifter. Helps against any other hand trap that will hurt, such as Droll, Furos. Wouldn't take this out of the main. I know people said this. I enjoy this card. 1 for 1. This is the 4th Neptivus. Debatable on cutting this, but it's been good. Can't really complain about that either.
It also helps you clear some of your clunked Mulcharmies and such.
Yeah. Avesting. This is just a reborn. I don't really play the other scale, the spell negation scale, Mizuchi. I feel like it's just another potential brick in the deck. Some people opt to side it. I just haven't played it in general. This honestly just becomes, you just reborn Dragoons and it becomes Bahamut Toad anyway. And then you can just fetch this back from the graveyard with the Link Monster. To round out the non-engine, 3 Imperm, 3 Impulse. Yes, there are cards that conflict with Impulse in my deck. Just layer them properly and you won't really have too much of an issue. So I believe that's a 46 or 47 card list. It really doesn't brick too often. I did have the one game where I bricked recently, but I really can't complain with the list. There's not really too much that I would change, with the exception of going into crossover breakers format. The deck will change based on how dominant the new decks such as Ryzeal and Malice are. For the side deck, 3 Designator, and then Shifter. Yes, Shifter is just pretty much a turn pass unless you can access Coelacanth and then pitch off the Coelacanth. You might be able to end up with 2 Toads under Shifter, but it's really hard to get there. So this is just another form of protection against this card. Konami banned this. It just doesn't belong in the game.
I agree. Amen. Amen.
2 Veiler, just more non-engine for when I know I'm going second. Sometimes I'll side 1 in with the cross-out package if I know my opponent's on Veiler. It comes up sometimes, but it just really protects the Coelacanth. We have 3 Deltas, Gamma, and Driver. This is going second. Another, I think the hand trap count goes up to like 20 plus post side. Delta has been insane. It there's so many power spells in the format. Hollowed Azamina. You can hit Nightmare Throne. Sometimes I just end up passing against the Tempai board if I get shifted. Having this in hand hits the Kaiman, and sometimes it just catches them off guard. In the battle phase, they'll Kaiman. The Delta will come down. It offers you 2 bodies for protection, but negating the Kaiman most of the time, they won't be able to push through for all that damage unless their hand is like optimal. Gamma's Gamma. I'm playing it even if it's at 1, as long as I have these 3 alongside it. Virtue Stream, this is for going first. It's the Sword Soul Blackout of the deck. This is very good into back row decks when going first, setting this up against Labyrinth. You just clear 2 of their back row. It's searchable. Can't really complain about this. There is consideration to cut the rank 3 that searches this with Virtue Dragon completely, and if you do, then you would obviously not side this. But this is just generally good going first. Goes in match. It's a floodgate. That's really enough to be said. All my monsters are water. I get locked into waters. This is very good, especially with Cash being back in the format. 1 marksman. This can pop sets on your opponent's turn. Again, with the Abyss Rhine banishing. This also sometimes gets summoned, pokes for damage, brings out a Dragoon from deck, or brings out the heavy infantry, and then main phase 2 you get the additional normal off the heavy infantry. It's good. The 1 Dogwood, it's searchable off Pike. For some reason, a lot of people get caught off guard when I search this, especially closer to time or in the Tempai matchup, where if my hand isn't really strong enough to feel comfortable into the Tempai matchup, I'll just search this even going first. Water token. For links, we have Lacia. This is another form of interaction on your opponent's turn. You can pitch the marksman, pitch the heavy infantry, search a Mermail card, get the trigger off of infantry, pop a card, and then, you know, it's just relatively good. 500 attack boosts. Some people don't read these cards and attack into your monsters that are bigger than they seem. Abyss Keeper. This is only in there for when you draw Coelacanth. This is the only way to get it out of your hand and on board that I know of. It's really a flex spot, but I enjoy having it in there in case where I draw the brick, my board becomes less optimal, and this just helps me facilitate those stronger boards. Coral, we just need 1. 1 is fine. Part of the combo, which turns your you summon back the Shadow Squad, turn everything into 7, put the Glacia under Abyss Giles, and that way you don't skip your battle phase for the next turn because it's not considered leaving the field. And then Mermail King, which is the targeting protection, searches the Trainia equip, and then on top of that, if it's destroyed by your opponent's card, you add any Atlantean or Mermail from the deck, so it has really good follow-up. Synchros is a Chenging. This is summon off of the Agarine. Again, this is very strong into specific matchups, especially in the Fire King matchup. Banishing something on board, banishing the recursion from graveyard, the Garunix, the Princess, super strong. Dragite and Porpoise. This comes out, this summons 2 pikes from the grave. You can make a second rank 4, either Dweller or the second Bahamut into Toad. Then you can coral back the level 2 tuner, the Shift, and then use Shift plus the Porpoise, and then make Dragite, which is another form of negation. Very good, pretty happy with that. There's consideration again to play something like Trishula. I do miss Trishula for the extra hand rip. It is a little greedier, but Trishula is very easy to set up with the Gaios into Sidra play. You soul charge back the 3 level 3s, and then you can just make Trishula for free there.
That card is fucking insane.
This card's custom, to be honest. It's a soul charge for 3 level 3s on going first, and it's a non-targeting 3 bounce 3 on your opponent's turn.
Literally a better flying
And then most of the time when I summon this, I have Toad to ensure that this bounce 3 goes through. It dumps a card from grave, so you can dump something like Dragoons, you can dump something like Infantry or Marksman and get an additional destruction on top of that. Dweller, this is for all the graveyard decks, especially Fire King.
Ban this card.
The Virtue searches a trap, and then it can add back the heavy infantry, so you can have that in hand for the follow up for your opponent's turn, where you want to just pitch it and pop a card. Double Toad, Double Shark. Please don't play 3 of these. There's no room.
All right. Any final closing words?
Yeah, so I think this deck's very powerful, and you know, it shouldn't be underestimated. It's getting new support as well, so I'm excited to see where that brings this deck in terms of meta. Shout out to Mammals Gaming, and I'll see you guys all in Anaheim.
Yeah, left on red said none of this shit will get easier. Best friend flirting with death, collect winnings from the last check. On to the next, rinse and repeat up to the last step. Then we